Information regarding the biggest change to the real estate market in over a decade just dropped from the National Association of Realtors. Stay tuned as I underline how it's going to affect everyone from sellers, buyers, and the professionals that service both of these clients. Stay tuned. This news coming from the National Association of Realtors is related to an initial class action lawsuit out of Missouri called the Sitzer-Burnett class action lawsuit. And this lawsuit is based around the idea that broker commissions were price fixing and potentially or allegedly inflating home value. And so they made this claim in Missouri. There was a very large settlement that started there. And then immediately after that lawsuit was settled, then you saw a national lawsuit and then like a ton of copycat lawsuits throughout the country. So then we had the Missouri verdict, and then we had copycat lawsuits filed throughout the country. And so the National Association of Realtors felt it was important that they make a broad settlement on this lawsuit, and they just announced the terms of that. And so what they will be deciding is the decoupling of listing agent and buyer agent commissions and the advertisement of those commissions on the MLS. So those are the two main decisions. There are 5 total, but those are the 2 main that really affect the market. So the way that agent commissions work in today's world is that when a listing agent meets with a seller, they not only negotiate the compensation for the listing agent, but also the compensation for the buyer's agent. And so with this decoupling of commissions, what is going to happen when we as listing agents meet with the seller is we're only going to negotiate a listing agent compensation agreement. And so there will be no requirement for an offer of compensation to a buyer broker. Now, that doesn't mean that a seller can't elect to compensate a buyer broker, whether today's rates or at a future rate or at a rate situational to the interest they receive on their home. And that's a little bit of the unknown that we don't know about this until it plays out. But I guess the important thing to know is that it doesn't prohibit a seller. It's just that it's going to decouple the requirement of a seller to pay for both the listing agent and the buyer agent. The action that you need to take as a seller is, to really make sure you're getting a great consultation on the pros and cons. Obviously, who you're hiring to represent you on the listing of your property, but also what are the pros and cons offering buyer compensation? Because on one hand, we know that in today's market, offering compensation increases the buyer pool, and typically the more buyers in a pool for a home, the more offers and the better price and terms you receive for that. And on the other hand, depending on how desirable your property is, depending on some of the dynamics around your property, there may be less incentive to do that at all or in part. And so you're gonna have to have a much more sophisticated representation to guide you through these additional nuances that are being added to an already very complex environment. Now, flipping to the buyer side, what buyers need to know is that for the first time, they will be required to enter into what you could basically consider as an employment agreement to work with their agent. And the way that this new, let's call it law, reads is that it's supposed to happen before you see a home. So you're not supposed to really just be able to reach out to someone and say, hey, can you show me this home casually? And let's go take a look and see if I like it. In this new world, we're supposed to have a buyer broker agreement with compensation included, whether for that property or for the neighborhood or city or duration of time that you're working with this agent. And so it's really important that you understand that. 1, 2, when it comes to what you're paying for, you want to make sure that you're being represented very well. And so you're gonna You're going to need to have a little bit more sophisticated process for hiring this professional, understanding their qualifications and what value that they add, and obviously what the cost of that is going to be. I think whether buying or selling, what has been made very clear here is that who you choose to work with really matters from a professional level. This is what you should do. You should make sure that you have done some research on who you engage to represent you, whether buying or selling. You should have a consultation about your scenarios and more details about this topic, because we're just barely scratching the surface here. There's a lot more nuance to it. I'm Justin Vierra, your trusted real estate agent in Sacramento. I look forward to talking to you on any of your real estate questions. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next video.